On today's episode of Wrong Side, the NBA playoffs are in full swing. We go through each series through game ones. The Lakers are in trouble, and congratulations to the Celtics and Cavaliers. The Eastern Conference Finals has been determined. The NFL draft is right around the corner with the Bears and Cowboys looking to make some big moves. Clutch Moment of the Week brought to you by Shore Metals and Outside the Line. In a world full of champions, we find ourselves on the wrong side.
Welcome back, Wrong Siders. Happy Wrong Side Wednesday. Today is April 23rd. NBA playoffs have kicked off. Cavs and Celtics, they're on their way to the Eastern Conference Finals already. We're going to talk a little basketball. The mock draft season has reached the end of the road as mock drafts turn into real draft this week with the NFL draft in Green Bay, which we'll get into. Going to be an exciting conversation to see how the Bears and Cowboys will draft and eventually mess up all their picks. Obviously, we got Clutch Moment of the Week and Outside the Line, but a great episode coming up today. A lot of cool talk, a lot of good basketball NBA talk. No NHL yet. Maybe when we get a little lull next week. But NBA playoff talk. The NBA playoffs have started and mock draft season coming to an end. A lot of fun topics to discuss. A lot of good basketball and bad basketball this weekend. A lot of players coming off the boards this upcoming week. We're going to start in the NBA. It was a bad weekend of game ones. Joey kind of teased it in our intro to the episode. The Eastern Conference is bad. It's bad. Go ahead. You can kick us off.
I don't have much to say about the East, as I feel like I have to take the burden of the Eastern Conference being the one in Chicago while you're out in LA. The Bucks, I wanted the Bucks to be good. I've been seeing on Twitter, the discourse was we needed 2018 LeBron James performance out of Giannis. My take, I will say, bad take looking back on it, that the Bucks were going to make some noise in the East, but that was before Damian Lillard was scheduled to come back. So rushing back from blood clots, they said it was the craziest recovery that they've ever seen, that he does not have DNA, he has NBA. So he is supposed to be back for game 2, could make an appearance there, but Bucks are in trouble. I don't think like I said exactly this last week, I don't think the Pacers are a team that can contend for the NBA Finals, but Giannis still had a day and had no help. Kyle Kuzma had a Tony Snell stat line,
Unreal.
Zeros across the board, and it's just bad basketball. Giannis runs downhill and people miss shots around him. So maybe Damian Lillard can get a few games from the Pacers. Again, this was a playoff series last year that went 7 games, but my sleeper team out of the East is dead. There's no sleeper team out of the East unless we get a miracle run out of the Heat. I don't see that happening again. East is bad. I'm sorry. I feel like I have to apologize for it. So it's tough out here.
Yeah, East was rough. The Celtics and Cavs are playing a higher level of basketball, I will say, than other East teams. If you look at the West, I think the West is still very much open. Not in the sense of like, oh, it could be anybody. It obviously isn't going to be the bottom feeder teams, or who knows, maybe not even the Lakers. But you look at the West, and from the 2 seed to the 8 seed, there's 4 games separating them, versus the 2 seed to the 8 seed in the East is 24 games separating them.
Oh my God.
So you see just mayhem in the East. And there were some positives on the East, I will say. The Celtics, they're a good team. Tatum put up a stinker, and you saw how good that team is. Peyton Pritchard and Derek White had a fantastic day. I think they combined for almost 50 points. So a great game from them. You saw them take care of the Magic in game 1. The Cavs, Ty Jerome, incredible game. Wild stat I saw today that Ty Jerome is scored the 3rd most points in a Cavalier debut.
Wow.
I don't know if that's accurate or just in a game, but I think it's either game 1 or first Cavalier playoff appearance, because I think LeBron had more than these many points, but it was like LeBron had 30 or 32, Kyrie had 28, and he had 27. So like the 3rd most points, what a group to be in for Ty Jerome. Like,
yeah,
pretty incredible company if you were to ask me for that it's those 3. So incredible stat for Ty Jerome. Cavs looked great. We can fast forward to Cavs Celtics, I'll say. In the other series, the Knicks won game 1. They're wrapping up game 2 right as we're recording this. Pistons are up 4, so might tie that series up. And like we said last week, the Pistons-Knicks is going to be a fun series to see who's going to lose to the Cavs. Or who's going to lose to the Celtics. Who's going to lose to the Celtics? I'm sorry. So exciting series, I guess, there. We'll see if the Knicks can win this series. I think it's a must-win for the Knicks. Obviously, the Pistons have less to prove. But other than that, Pacers versus Bucks was a fun game. Looked like we said, no new, like a lot of offense. Yeah. We'll see if Dame makes a change of that. I don't know how much he'll be playing. I don't know if he'll be on a minutes restriction. No matter how much NBA he has in his blood, it definitely isn't something you want to rush back for. And like, I just worry that this could be like something worse if something happens. But that being said, the Pacers had a great win. Pacers wore the shirts. That was good. If you wear the shirts, good things happen. Laker fans were pathetic, which we'll get into in a little bit. But East was kind of bad. We'll see how that shakes out. But I would be beyond shocked if it was not Celtics Cavs.
100%. Nothing else to say over there.
Yeah. On the West, we'll start with the worst. Grizzlies Thunder. I mean, that was. We should skip to next round as well for that series.
It goes around every year. I think there's a stat that the first round, particularly the 1 versus 8 seeds, is some crazy record similar to like the 16 versus 1 seeds in March Madness. So it's not surprising to see a team go like the 1 seed prove that they're the 1 seed early. Again, 7 games, long series, but to see it go down the way it is, 80 to 131 with it not really being close the entire time. And the Grizzlies have been exciting. I know they've been through it the last year or two with Josh suspensions, kind of Dylan Brooks going out and kind of a mini rebuild in the middle of it all. They got Zach Edey now, who is definitely not your typical modern big man that we're seeing in the NBA. So kind of learning how to deal with that. But the Thunder, they were the young team last year. We waited for them to prove it. They won. I think they won 1 series, lost in the second round. Right. Again, the West is incredibly strong, but I think the Thunder are ready to prove that they're not the young team in the West anymore. Like, that was crazy.
Pure domination. And the crazy thing was, I was saying it's similar to the Laker game, but the first half, Shea was like, he did not have much in that first half. I think it was like 9 or 10 points. Like, I don't think he had many points. Like, he shot, like, he hit 1 3, I think, to end the half, but didn't have a 3 till like the last 2 minutes of the first half. Did not show up, but everybody else did their job. They play well. They're good. I think they have now ascended. I'm not going to say they'll make it to the finals, but I think they've ascended from that, like, you're right, that young KD, Russell Westbrook, James Harden team that just like bailed out early, but they were like, oh, these kids are young, they're tough, they play well together, maybe they'll be good next year. And then they went to the NBA Finals the next year and lost. But I think that like there is a shot for Oklahoma City to get there. They dominated the ball, they dominated defense, they played well, and it wasn't even like the Laker game where the Lakers got within 10, 11, 12 at one point in the end of the third, beginning of the fourth. They got to like 34, and then they got back up to 51. And Marvin Bagley, like, he had a game of his life. Like, without Marvin Bagley, they might not even score 80 points. Like, he had a great game. So, like, the Grizzlies just look bad. I'm still lost on why Jaren Jackson hangs out so much around the 3-point line. Like, you're 7 feet tall, get in the paint. Like, I'm not saying that he's going to score every time. Like, Oklahoma City's got great interior defending in the paint, but just from a height perspective, like, get in the paint, let's score the ball. So definitely a rough series to start for them. Warriors Rockets, very fun game last night. Don't know how much you caught of it. Obviously, it ended pretty late for the Midwest East Coasters, but Warriors played well. You said it last week. I was also on the Warriors heavy that I think the Rockets are in a situation where now they're a young team. Can they prove it? They talked about it a lot on the broadcast. Warriors have 2 closers. The Rockets really don't have any.
Yeah, I talked about the Warriors last week. Hadn't really caught up with them too much in the Jimmy Butler era of the Warriors. I know they had been winning a lot of games, but Jimmy may have been struggling a little bit. But you look at a playoff series, and you have Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and also Draymond Green. Love him or hate him, he knows how to win playoff games and playoff series. So taking a look at that versus a team that we're going to see like how they're tested emotionally. Like you lost game one. How are you going to come back at home? You have adversity to deal with now, a young group of guys who seem to all have an ego. They all got that dog in them, really in a good way, but we'll say if Udoka can keep them together. But Steph, 31 points, Jimmy, 25.7 boards, 6 assists, 5 steals for Jimmy Butler. Outstanding. I mean, the Warriors look like a team. If this is the 1 seed in the West, the Warriors are right there with the best of the best. They were down there in the play-in game. But Steph Curry, the GOAT of the era. I'm going to go out there and say it. The GOAT of the era.
Yeah, like I said, the West being 4 games apart versus the East, gigantic discrepancy. You can see how good these teams are, even with a team like the Lakers and the T-Wolves. Like, it still was only 1 game. Like, that was the one. It was a 1-game difference. So, like, all these teams are great, and they're just bunched up. That Oklahoma City was just that much better than other teams this year in the West. That was the real big difference. But Warriors look great. Steph looked awesome. It's cool to see LeBron play the way he does still. Like, LeBron had a chase down block, and he still plays good defense at times. And it's awesome to see him dunk or hit a big shot. Those are cool. But, I mean, Steph still hits shots that you're like, how are you still moving like this? Like, you're 35, you're 36, whatever he is. Like, how are you still moving like this? Like, I mean, like, it's just incredible. I think they're a very fun team. Shocked that I don't think there were any, maybe there was 1 or 2 just based on like the team, but shocked that there was no fights between Dylan Brooks and Draymond for game 1.
Yep.
So that was a big win. One game 1, no fight. But should be a really fun series to watch. I think that's going to be a game that might go 6 or 7. Along the other ones in the West, the Nuggets and Clippers, Denver Devil Magic, very reminiscent of another LA series for them. Clippers led probably up until the 3-minute mark of the 4th, and then they tied it up and went to overtime. And we got the full Russell Westbrook experience with the good and the bad, the ugly. But Nuggets are good. They're still a good team. They're playing hard. They truly did have the good and bad, the ugly. They played Russ in the final 5 minutes. Porter didn't come back in. I was kind of shocked about that. But Jokic is still incredible. Watching him play is phenomenal. I know it's Shai's turn to win the MVP because there's always voter. What is it? Like
voter fatigue?
Not voter fatigue. Like, I know there's voter fatigue in the NBA, but I guess it'll be Shai's turn. But like, Jokic is just so good. And to be honest with you, Harden and Kawhi, like, they also played well. Like, it's going to be a good series. Game 2's just started while we're recording this. But it should be pretty interesting because, like, that's a series where if the Nuggets go up 2-0, it's going to be tough for the Clippers to get back in it. I think this is, must win for the Clippers, but they have to make this game interesting. And they had some costly turnovers at the end, and Denver's been there before. Realistically, the Clippers haven't been there before with this team in a while because Kawhi's been hurt or it hasn't been healthy, or one person's been gone or 2 people's been gone. So I think the Clippers are still a good team. I think this series will go 6 or 7, but the Clippers have to find a way to fizzle out the Devil Magic in the end of the 4th.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right that if the Nuggets go up 2-0, it'll be really hard to come back. But I think if the Clippers also end up 2 games, like obviously 3-1 leads are very hard to come back from, but the Clippers could also definitely take control of this series. At the same time, there's a lot of time for the wheels to fall off. The Nuggets this year had the best offensive rating in the league with Jokic on the floor, the worst offensive rating in the league without him on the floor. So that just goes to show like how big of an impact he is. He can only be on the floor so much. Honestly, his minutes per game are very impressive with kind of like his body type and the way he looks like out there. Like, he's on the court a lot, but it's costly when he is not on the court. Russ, like you said, good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm a massive Russell Westbrook fan, so that's the full experience. I think the Nuggets definitely, at least over the last 2-4 years, have him in a role where he's able to make those mistakes. They ended up winning the game, obviously, but he's in a much better position there than, say, the Lakers to play that the way he is able to play. I think he's definitely still an effective player. James Harden, 30 points, 11 assists, a game 1 hero. He's had some fantastic game 1s. I believe it was the Sixers-Celtics series back in the day. Game 1, Joel Embiid wasn't there, and he went off, I think, in Boston to win them that game. So there's still time for the wheels to fall off, Harden to toss up a stinker, Kawhi to end up being hurt, but the Clippers are very dangerous. I'd love to see them advance. I think this series will definitely tire out whichever team comes out. So it's probably one of them. All the series in the West are intriguing, but a team like Denver, who has been through 7-game series, won titles, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Kawhi's been through it. James Harden's really trying to make a push there. I think you got a lot of big names, a lot of people who have played in a lot of playoff games, and this one will continue to be very fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun series. I think I think that last part is pretty spot on. It's gonna be a fun series, but it's gonna be one of those series where it might take it all out of you in the next round. And that's happened before. We've seen a lot of teams that have played the Nuggets, or teams that have lost teams that have beaten the Nuggets, and last year you saw them fizzle out. Like, it happens very often, but should be a fun finish to that series. And then obviously the game of this podcast, Lakers T-Wolves. It was a game. They played a game. I was in attendance. The LA faithful was pathetic. No t-shirt wearing. Joe Burrow didn't wear the t-shirt. He was on the side. He was on court side. Jack Black didn't wear the t-shirt.
No,
it was bad, but I don't know. My honest opinion was it was a pathetic game one. They played incredible the first quarter. The Lakers played incredible. They played well. It was Luka dominated. LeBron played well as the 2. In that first quarter, didn't score, but played well, passed well, got the ball moving. Him and Rui had a great first quarter. They were up at the end of the first quarter. And then after that, everything came crumbling down. The physicality of the T-Wolves increased while the Lakers looked weak. I envisioned Gobert being a problem, but Gobert got some early fouls in a sense of, like, in the paint. Didn't really matter. Gobert kind of played like 25 minutes or something. It was kind of weird minutes, but he's a non-factor in my opinion. But it was Luka versus 8 the entire game. It felt like Luka was the only person who scored. Luka was the only person that showed up. Reeves looked terrible. LeBron looked terrible. Vanderbilt had some good defensive minutes, but Rui had a good first quarter. Didn't have much after that. I think they combined Luka and LeBron for 3 or 4 assists total together.
Wow.
He had 15 assists as a team. The Timberwolves, 4th most threes in a playoff game, 21 in playoff history. They shot 37% during the season. They shot 51% on Saturday night. I hate that LeBron fans are saying it's a feel-it game. That's not how it works. Julius Randle, Naz Reid, Nickel Alexander, their bench, which I mentioned last week, that was the strength. I said is they were much deeper than the Lakers. And Anthony Edwards, like I said about Shea, he did not have a great first half. Lakers were down 11, I think, at the half, and Ant had maybe 9 or 10. So I was very concerned right off the bat at the halftime point. I was nervous. I said, well, I mean, like, okay, fine, maybe the other guys can't shoot this well for the rest of the game, but like Ant hasn't even showed up yet.
Right.
So what's the difference? So I think there's a lot to improve on. I trust JJ to come out, play physical, win game 2 at home, don't get swept at home, and stop leaving your feet on pump fakes from the 3. It was ridiculous how many times they left their feet. So a rough game 1.
Rough game 1. I jokingly said it was the LeBron feel-out game because there was a lot. The story of the night are 2 things, and you said it: the bench and the 3-point shooting. You can't assume that the 3-point shooting is going to be 51% every game. Like you said, they shot 37% during the regular season. But for the bench disparity to be as big as it was, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was quite large. That's something you got to be concerned about. You have that and the fact that Minnesota is able to roll out bigs consistently with Gobert, who I do agree is a non-factor in the playoffs just because teams are able to kind of hunt him. We've seen Luka do that for a couple of years.
He did it a bunch of times on Saturday. He just did it like easy. Like,
I think Naz Reid may be a better perimeter defender than Rudy, but they got their whole team. They have length. They play great defense. They're very physical. And like you said, Anthony Edwards didn't even show up. He ended up kind of being more of a facilitator than a scorer, which he seemed to be happy with. He's a guy who rises in the playoffs. It was kind of what drew me to him over the last couple of years, that he's always picking up his teammates in the press conference. It doesn't matter what else is going on. Like, it's all about the team. They have the us against the world mentality that we love. And I think with the bench disparity being that big and really this momentum I'm kind of feeling, the Lakers are really in trouble. Luka had 37. He played pretty efficiently for the most part. and they still lost. And it was close. Like it wasn't a blowout like the Thunder or anything, but it
The
felt
final
like
score is worse. Final score was worse than what it was too.
Did
The
you
last
ever
like
feel
4
like
minutes.
they were about to make a push? Like even if you're within, even if you're at like 8 points, like did you feel like here is where we close the gap?
So I was like, at the end of the third quarter, I kept saying to my parents and my grandpa, I was like, if they can get under 15, there's life. If they can get under 15, there's life. And then they hit a three to end, or like not like a buzzer, but like they hit a three to end the quarter, basically to go. We're down 16, but they were pushing pretty heavy. And then right off the rip to start the fourth quarter, we got a steal, a turnover, a bucket, three. We were down to 12. So at 12, I was like, okay, like 12 is very doable.
Yeah.
Very doable. But then they stayed at being down 12 for about 3 minutes of just trading baskets. And when you trade baskets down 12, you're in big, big trouble. And you saw it early how fast they got in trouble. And there was 7 minutes left. I think we left at around like the 2:30 mark because they were down 20 at that point. Like it was right when they took back a little run. It was bad. It was bad. I was embarrassed. I was in a bad mood walking out of the stadium. It was a tough. It's just tough to see. Like, I saw something that said like the t-shirts, like it doesn't really matter, but like it does matter. Like that small stuff like does matter. Like maybe it doesn't matter like in the grand scheme of things. Like, oh, if you wear the t-shirt, you're gonna win. Like obviously, I'm not saying that, but it's like you want to be a good arena, and when half the arena has to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to be down there, you don't get real fans. And I get it's LA. I understand that. And it's Hollywood. But the fans sucked. I felt like every time I was standing up and cheering, or every time I put my hand up for a three and got excited or clapped, I felt like someone was just going to like staring at me, like, sit down, like, what are you doing? But like, that's basketball. Like, that's what real fans care about. Like, I just felt like the fans that are there don't really give a shit. And it was embarrassing. People thought they were too cool for the shirts. They look like crap. And now we're down 1-0. And thank God the Warriors won last night because we would have been the only home team to lose game one. But thank God the Warriors won, so another home team lost. But 2-3, like there you go. Like the 2 and the 3 team lose. It's going to be a battle. Like this is going to be a series where it's Timberwolves, Lakers, 6 games, 7 games. Who's going to come out and be able to do this? Because I believe that Rockets series is very similar. Who's going to be able to come out of that one? So it's going to be 2 series that I believe are going to push you to the length of it. And Minnesota and Houston have the youth. They do. Whether the score shows the series scored or not, it's 1-0 Golden State, 1-0 Minnesota, but those teams have the youth, and we'll see how the old guys can handle. Got to win tomorrow. Must win tomorrow, and just keep praying. Make your shots. Yeah. Hope JJ had a good practice.
The West game 2s are definitely massive. I feel like there's going to be a lot of momentum grabbed, especially with how close a lot of these teams are. The only reason I'm kind of thinking this could be a feel-out game, so Luka at 37, again, pretty efficiently. I don't think this is necessarily the game he goes nuclear. Like, you could probably count on Luka Doncic for a game. Like, whether he has 45, whether he has 20 assists, like, Luka could go nuclear and win you a playoff game nearly single-handedly. Maybe that was this game. Maybe that was the attempt, but you don't want to be giving up games, especially at home. LeBron, on the other hand, was not as aggressive. At least the box score didn't really show it. Do you think LeBron needs to take a step up? Do you think he was kind of trying to feel it out? What do you think about LeBron?
He had a couple where he got like embarrassed at the rim a couple times. He shanked a couple, just a couple blocks. Like he didn't look good. Like he was trying to shoot so much from the mid range to 3 early on. Where like it's not like you're like, okay, we're down 15. We need threes badly. Like it was like, no, you're down 8 and we're turning possessions over. It was lazy passing at times. And I don't know what it is, but like Dorian Finney-Smith had a terrible game. Gabe Vincent had 1 bucket. Like Rui played a great first half. Didn't even show up in the second half. Like how did Dalton Connect completely fall out of the rotation as a good spot up 3-point shooter? There's certain questions where I think will be answered, and like the season's obviously not over. There's a long way to go. Like like with LeBron and Luka, the series is never going to be over, but you have to find a way to get there. I thought Hayes got a lot of slander. I didn't think Hayes was anywhere near the problem, in my opinion, on Saturday. I felt like he didn't even play enough to get part of the problem. He played well. He played hard. He got a couple steals. Played well in the paint. But I think everyone was just like so upset that we don't have a real center, but like we haven't had a real center for months now. So what's the difference? So lot to work on. 7:00 game tomorrow, West Coast time. Should be a good one. Must win, must win. And we'll see if they can get back to Minnesota tied.
If, God forbid, if the Lakers lose this series, was Nico Harrison right?
I mean, no, he's not. Like, no matter what he says, he wasn't right. Like,
there's an ESPN article today. Tim McMahon was the author, if anyone wants to look it up. It is a long article. There are basically, he didn't quote Dirk, but it was like a source close to Dirk.
I saw this like quote, yeah.
Said this, Nico removed some of the like player development and the training staff that Luka and Dirk both really liked, and very tone deaf by Nico. It's not my tone deaf of the week, but wow. Yeah, the Mavericks aren't in the playoffs and their season ended 77 days after trading Luka. So at least you're not the Mavericks. Yeah, as a non-playoff team, I could say that.
Good 30 for 30 coming our way in a couple years, maybe.
Valid.
But yeah, I hope Luka goes. I hope Luka plays well this series. I hope they can win. Everyone's saying that Anthony Edwards pointing the gun at Luka is playing with fire because like Luka's like undefeated in moments like that, like social media moments. So we'll see.
Against Devin Booker, Anthony Edwards is not Devin Booker. I want to stop that right now.
He did it last year. They beat Minnesota last year in Dallas.
Nah, we'll see.
So we'll see. Yeah, game 2 must win. Should be exciting. Tone deaf. The NBA playoff schedule. Don't like how it's like so sporadic. Like we play tomorrow and then don't play again until Friday. Like, yeah, it just feels like we're not. I feel like we're getting like more length in between games. But NBA playoffs, hopefully games 2 through 5, all improve as the NBA playoffs continue. The NFL draft is here. We're going to Green Bay, not us, but all the other teams are going to Green Bay this weekend. Should be a fun weekend. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, a 3-day draft. A lot of good players, I think, in the early rounds. A lot of depth at the running back position. We're going to do a quick, like not a full mock, but just Cowboys, Bears breakdown. Go over that. And then kind of just some small anecdotes from the draft. So I'll let you kick it off for the Bears, what you want, what you don't want, what you care about, players to watch.
Bears are interesting. Obviously, it's been a roller coaster the last couple of years with having the number 1 pick, trading the number 1 pick and getting DJ Moore, having the number 1 pick and getting Caleb Williams, the hellish year we had this year. Now we're up to Green Bay, where the Bears historically have not had the best of luck. Bears are picking number 9 draft
10.
pick. 10. They're where you're at. From the last couple of years of roller coaster, I don't know if we're picking number 9 or number 10. But there's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about here. I do not want Ashton Jeanty. I don't think it would be bad to get Ashton Jeanty. I think he is, I'll go as far as say he's generational. I think he's going to be great wherever he goes. But in a league where the running back, we saw Saquon Barkley do what he did. But he went to a great team. A great team with a great running back will be great. Bears aren't a great team yet. We built up the interior O-line especially. That was a huge problem. But we didn't build that up with cornerstone franchise pieces. We got older players on expiring deals, short-term fixes, and hopefully culture-building guys. That's great. Having a guy who has been there before in the chaos of the Bears organization is going to be great for our interior O-line. That being said, we're not ready for a running back. I would prefer if we didn't take Jeanty at 10. Take Will Campbell. Take Kelvin Banks from Texas. Take Mason Graham. Take interior linemen. Those are probably my top 3. Ashton Jeanty would not be bad. I don't think I'm necessarily going to be upset if they take him, but I think there's bigger positions of need. Anyone saying we should take Ashton Jeanty as a foregone conclusion, I think is a non-ball knower. I'm going to go out and say that. Sneaky player I saw, Mike Green, edge rusher from Marshall, the Thundering Herd. Shout out the Thundering Herd. Those would be kind of my picks there. So that's Mason Graham, Kelvin Banks, Will Campbell if he gets there, Mike Green, Ashton Jeanty, Tyler Warren I absolutely adore. I think he's fantastic. Ben John, my one not caveat on Tyler Warren, but my take on Tyler Warren, we've had Cole Kmet for a number of years. We've paid Cole Kmet, I think, as a top 10 tight end. I think he's a middle of the road tight end. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with Cole Kmet, but he's not necessarily I think he'd have like a WAR of 0 to put it into baseball terms. Like he's a very average tight end. He can catch the ball. He's not necessarily fantastic at getting open. He's not a fantastic route runner. decent blocker, not great with the ball in his hands after the catch. I think he's very average. Ben Johnson likes 2 tight ends. If we're going to have 2 tight ends, let's get a playmaker like Tyler Warren out there. I think he has a better catch radius. He's more explosive. That's fantastic. And then the Bears extended TJ Edwards, so he's kind of locked up that interior defense. He's a great run stuffer. 2 more years. I'm good with 2 more years, but after that, TJ Edwards may be kind of on his way out. So Bears are in a good spot. Picking at 10, again, is like kind of underwhelming compared to the last couple of years with the haul and everything. But luckily, we don't need a quarterback. So the quarterback draft class is not very good. Done.
Yeah, average QB class. Is there any player you were like, if that name showed up on the card, you'd be like, what the hell is happening here?
No. I think at
like
number
in a
10,
situation, like example I would give you is like, so let's say the Raiders, for example, take Ashton Genty, and Campbell's gone and Banks is gone. If Omarion Hampton pops up on that list, like I could see that being a situation where it's like, what the hell are we doing? Like a running back at 10 from North Carolina.
That would be absurd. North Carolina, I think that'd be pretty absurd. If you're not getting Genty at 10, you're not taking a running back in the first round. Bears obviously don't need a receiver. I think Will Johnson from Michigan, a corner, could maybe be there. We just extended Kyler Gordon, who's our slot corner. We have Tyreek Stevenson on the other side of Jalen Johnson. I like Tyreek Stevenson, but DB-wise, you could always use more help there. As far as I think at the 10 spot, there's enough kind of best player available types that the Bears still need that you're not going to make a wrong pick. Like I said, like Ashton Genty isn't a bad pick, but I think it's a luxury pick. You brought it up during the season. If Rome Odunze was a luxury pick last year, maybe like what hindsight would we have done better with another O lineman? Potentially. But being at 10 this year, but now we've shored up the O line in free agency a little bit. We've extended our defensive guys. You have a lot of pieces to go with. And with the new regime in there, I'm very curious to see what they're going to do and what they're going to prioritize. Ben Johnson, obviously being an offensive-minded guy, and the Bears haven't necessarily historically have not had offensive-minded coaches. So I don't think we're going to see a receiver. Maybe we're going to see a running back. Scratch that. There's no way we're seeing a receiver. Maybe a running back. It wouldn't be bad. I'd prefer tight end, O-line, D-line. Continue building up the trenches. It's been the problem the entire time. Let's continue to address it for the long term because we have addressed it in the short term.
Good breakdown. Any late round Buckeye you want?
I think any of the running backs in the second round. Sadly, we don't need a quarterback because I'm all about a proven winner in Will Howard. I think we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Any of the Buckeyes. Take any of the Buckeyes. They're national champions. Take all of the Take a Buckeye every single round for all I care.
Yeah.
Linemen are good. Defensive linemen are good. Linebackers are good still. Sonny Styles is a great hybrid player. He was a safety 2 years ago, for crying out loud. Any of them. That was a LeBron-ass answer, but still.
No, I agree. I said if the Cowboys took a Buckeye every single round, they'll get exponentially better this season.
100%.
They would not get exponentially worse. They'd get exponentially better.
Yes.
For us, for the Cowboys, I think it's a weird draft where I think like picks 1 through 7 are like really good, and picks 8 through 26 are like weird, like good depth pieces. But then I think again, like 27 to 50, there's a ton of depth. So I think it's like a weird mix of like depth versus stars in this draft. Personally, I'm not in love with McMillan from Arizona. I'm personally not in love with him. I can't get on board. I know a lot of people have said a lot of good things. I have not said any bad things about him, but I just think I just don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't think he's going to be – I don't think he's going to fit. I just don't know why. I just don't think he's going to fit. And I saw this, like, route tree map for him of, like, percentage of balls caught, and it, like, wasn't great other than a couple routes. And, like, it was like, oh, he's 100% on a screen pass. Or I'm like, shouldn't he be 100% on a screen pass? Like nobody's there. But then it was like to a post route where he's like 45% or he's across the middle 65%. And that kind of worries me. And I don't know what happened in Arizona. I watched a little extra film this weekend, just like maybe I'm missing something. And he's a good talent. He's a freak athlete. But I don't know. I don't know if we're a team that would do well with a CeeDee Lamb and a Tet McMillan, where I think they both kind of go as deep threats at time.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's 100% bias. Like it is 100% bias on my part. I won't not admit it, but like I wouldn't mind trading back 5 picks, grabbing an extra second or third round, and taking Emeka. And I mean, Emeka's a bona fide route runner. He's a bona fide slot guy. He plays his position well. Like personally, like I think that would do wonders for them versus Tet McMillan. And if Tet McMillan is gone, I really hope it's not a reach on Matthew Golden from Texas. I've been seeing that name thrown around a lot. I don't think that would be a good pick either. So like I'm very pro trade back and get a Emeka or trade back and get extra picks if it's not a Emeka. Or I think if Genty does make it to 12, I would not take him at 12, but I think it's very, very certain that if Genty's there at 12, I would be shocked if Jerry passed on him. Shocked. But
he would be the next great Cowboy running back. Jerry is having a wet dream thinking about that right now.
Yeah. So I think if he's at 12, he's going to get taken, but I personally would not. Would love a Buckeye running back in the second round.
Do you now you're being very Cowboy here, only talking about skill positions. Do you think you need other positions? Is it only going to be receivers and running backs that you're considering in the first round? I don't hate trading back. My one last thing about the Bears is do anything other than trade up for Ashton Genty. There's enough to address.
Yeah.
But trading back,
I would also agree.
Do
not trade up. Something for trading up was actually like I wrote it down as like worst case scenario. Like I couldn't think of like a player that was worst case scenario, but it was like trading up was worst case scenario in my mind. Like that was what I envisioned. Skill position wise, I think the Cowboys get a bad rep of being like, oh, very Cowboys-esque, like being skill position wise. But like they have 2 offensive first rounders since 2010. Like, that's a very small number. Like it's CeeDee and Zeke. Like I don't think there's been many other offensive first rounders. So you have a tight, or you have a O line that's very young, but it's growing. I think they found something. I don't think it's like for sure shirt up. Like you get a chance to get someone like Donovan Jackson or Seth in the later rounds, Josh Fryer in the later rounds. Like obviously those are Buckeyes, but you get a chance to grab one of them. I would take one of them. I think it would vastly improve the O-line. Tight end, if they took Tyler Warren, that was also in my like, why are we doing this pick? Like, I not to say Ferguson, very similar to Cole Kmet, like a zero war guy, good team guy.
No, I think Ferguson's better. Cole Kmet is a great team guy.
Last year he was not. He was not as good as you think he was last year. Like his numbers were not as spectacular. But
was it the year before he did really solid?
2 years before he was incredible. 2 years ago he was incredible. I was like, he was young. He was a sophomore in the league. You're like, oh, this guy's gonna take the next jump. He kind of like fizzled the next year, and we'll see. Maybe Married Man will have. Shout out to Jake Ferguson. Maybe he's got married man power. But
wrong side Carson Beck.
Yeah, wrong side Carson Beck in the Kai Trump video. That was brutal. But I just like, I don't know. I think the defense obviously would love another guy. I think another edge guy would be awesome. You lost to Marcus Lawrence. That's a 6-7 sack guy a year. I think getting someone like that to replace would be huge. I know they've talked about Javon Walker from Georgia a lot. Maybe he can show up. I know obviously now with Eberflus, I know Eberflus from what you've told me in the past, big linebacker guy, loves good linebackers. So I could
don't worry, he brought his own. He brought his own.
Yeah, he brought his own. He brought his own.
Is a Dallas Cowboy.
But I wouldn't be shocked with that pick. But I think this is a good second, third, fourth round draft. Where if they traded back and got an extra third or fourth, they don't have a fourth round pick this year, which is the issue. And I think if they could trade back and get an extra third or a fourth or something to stay consistent and still keep their first rounder, trade back a little, get a different guy, grab a pick, grab a Mecca. Like I think it's a good move. Fun picks I'd love to see. I would kill for either Buckeye running back. Would love for it to be Travion. But I think there's better odds of it being Quinshawn just based on what I've been reading about Travion. I think Travion's flying up draft boards. I know the Bears have looked at him a lot for the second round. I saw even the Chiefs were interested in Travion to a late first round pick, which would be scary. But I think Trayvon's value is higher a little more. And then I mean, I would take him in the third round. I don't think he'll go in the third round. He might go in the fourth or fifth. But I would probably buy a Lathan Ransom Cowboys jersey as well. That's my like real dream pick. A Lathan Ransom
love Ransom,
Cowboys pick.
yeah.
I would love that. I think he'd be great. I think he'd fit the team well. I think he'd get along well with the team. But for the Cowboys, don't mess it up. Pick well, and don't put yourself in a situation where you're trading meaningless picks for players. You traded a fourth rounder for Jonathan Mingo to have like one catch in the last month of the season. You don't have a fourth rounder this year. You don't have a fourth rounder because of Trey Lance last year, and that's when the string of running backs went. You didn't get Braylon Allen. You didn't get a young running back last year. So like, don't put yourself in a hole like that moving forward. So that's my Cowboys look.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys are definitely in an interesting spot. We've been saying it, like they won 12 games. Those I think was 3 years in a row they won 12 games, and then have been fading the last couple of years.
This year was bad. Yeah, it was 12, bad year. Now we're
okay.
current game.
I think this is very important for the Cowboys. I think two other teams it's probably the most important for. Titans at number one. Number one picks are very exciting. I've had it very many years in a row at this point, but obviously that's not a place you want to be. But with kind of the whole regime change, the whole teardown over the last couple of years, the Titans need to hit on this pick, but likely going to be Cam Ward, but I don't think they're necessarily the team with the most to prove. I think those are two other teams picking in the top 5, the Browns and the Giants. Obviously very close to our hearts with both of those teams, but I'm not sure that I don't know where they go. Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, trenches. Other than that, you got lame duck coaches in Dable. Who knows what the Browns are up to? With those being very close to both of ours, what are your takes on those kind of teams on what they should do?
Yeah, I think it's as good as done that the Browns are taking Travis Hunter, and I can't believe that. I truly can't. Who's throwing these guys the ball?
Flacco. I don't know. It's bad.
I mean, I've been seeing.
But are you taking a quarterback? I don't think you can take I don't know if you're taking a quarterback.
No, but I think you can take Abdul Carter, who's a stud, and you pair him with Myles Garrett, and it's going to be unbelievable. Like, I think those two together would be unbelievable. And now you're going to take Travis, and Travis is great. I think Travis is good. I just don't think it's the franchise for them to be taking. I don't think it should be him. I think they should. I don't mind them trading back and see, because I could see that pick being a situation where, like, if there's a quarterback situation there, if somebody wants to trade up, I would let them trade up and see what they can get for them. Get some, especially the Browns. They've lost so many picks over the years because of Deshaun. Might as well get some capital back and start chipping away at some picks. So that's where I think from there. But for the Giants, and I do think the Giants are going to draft Abdul Carter. I think Dable really likes Shedeur, but I don't think they're going to get Shedeur. I think they're really going to push for either Arch next year, or they're going to take the chance on Jackson Dart in the second round. Wouldn't be shocked at that. The QB class is kind of weird.
Very.
I feel like you have 4 quarterbacks, 5, 6 maybe, that were like, oh, these guys are going to be first rounders. And now I saw the bet right now is over under 2.5 quarterbacks in the first round. And I think it's going to be Shedeur. I think it's going to be Cam Ward. It just matters if Jackson Dart will get in there. Jalen Milroe sneaks in there as the 3rd and 4th in the first rounder. But I think you have the next tier of Milroe, Dart, Howard, and Ewers as like the next group of 4. And I think you do it. I think it's going to go in that order in the draft. I think it's going to go Cam, Shedeur, Milroe, Dart, Will, and Quinn. Like, that's how I think the 6 quarterbacks will go. I hope Will goes to a good spot. I think Will is going to do great. I think he'll be a backup for a year or two and a chance to potentially prove himself. I hope Will does well. I hope all 15 Buckeyes get drafted. It's a super deep running back class, which is like we've talked about. Like, we obviously are focused on the big names like Genty and Hampton and the Buckeyes, but you also have like a Devin Neal from Kansas. You have a Cam Scatabo from Arizona State. You have guys that are very good running backs that are going to be eligible in the 4th, 5th round. You can sneak one in, get a good guy. Your boy Ollie Gordon, I saw him going as late as 6th in a mock draft.
Yep.
A 6th round this morning. So The running backs are great. I think it's a deep running back class. I was reading a report that the later rounds are taking a big hit in talent because a lot of later round players are staying in college for NIL money. Kind of something that's interesting. But yeah, a lot of good players. Tyler Show from Louisville, the quarterback, he's been as early as the first round, as late as the fifth round. I don't even know much about this guy. I'm confused why he's even in the conversation.
The craziest mock. He's been the most volatile guy I've read about.
Yeah, just pretty nuts. Harold Fannin, the tight end from Bowling Green, I think he's a fantastic tight end. I think he's hidden by Loveland and Tyler Warren, but someone who's going to get him is going to be very, very grateful that they did. I think he's a great tight end. I think he was like leading all of receivers and tight ends across the country this year. So he had some great numbers. The Buckeyes have depth in the backfield. Obviously, cornerback. You have Hancock. You have Ransom. You have Burke. You have JTT. You have Jack Sawyer. You have Tyleek, you have Ty Hamilton. You have a ton of guys. I think any team would be lucky to get the Buckeyes. I hope they all get drafted. 15, I think, would tie the record for most draft picks in a draft. So I hope we tie that record. And I think the final story I have is Shedeur. If you were to put the money on it now, where do you think he goes?
Man, I think it's got to be the Raiders. I think Giants are going to avoid him. I think the Browns aren't going to do it. I think the Raiders are going to do it. It makes a lot of sense. I think Coach Prime, Papa Prime's got his fingerprints all over it. But I think it makes sense in a lot of ways. I don't think it's the worst fit in the world. I think Shedeur definitely has a chance. There's been publicity around him, good, bad, ugly, all the way around. I disavow the jersey retirement wholeheartedly.
Disavowed as well. Pretty bad.
As a Shedeur guy, as a Coach Prime guy, I disavow retiring Shedeur's number wholeheartedly. But
this early, I don't even mind it later.
No, right in general, there's other number twos that are much better than him. Colorado has won national championships. They're a historic program. Travis Hunter won a Heisman in a very historic year. I can get behind that one. Shedeur's unacceptable. Definitely a part of Coach Prime's contract negotiations. But I still like the player. I think he's got a shot there, and I think it's going to be to the Raiders.
Okay, Raiders. I think it's going to be the Saints.
Down, what is that, 9?
9. If it's not the Saints at 9, I think he's going to be a Steeler.
Wow. And is that going to be the final domino in the Aaron Rodgers saga?
Yes.
Because there's no way Aaron Rodgers is coming back to be a mentor to anyone.
And definitely not Shedeur Sanders.
No. Steelers down at 21. San Francisco?
No.
I heard San Francisco might take a quarterback.
That would be crazy.
That would be crazy, but I don't know. My sources are telling me.
Maybe they should retool with Will Howard.
That wouldn't be – I honestly think he would be perfect in a Brock Purdy role. Obviously, a Brock Purdy role is something that everyone wants to be in, but I believe in Will Howard so wholeheartedly. He's a leader. He's got all the intangibles. He's not Josh Allen. We know that. He doesn't have the arm. He's not quite as downhill, but he's got the frame. He's got the acumen. He's got the IQ. He's a ball lover. Just ask John Gruden. But Will Howard is a winner. Kyle McCord sucks. Also, Kyle McCord sucks. Don't draft Kyle McCord.
Bears backup.
Him and Caleb would definitely be friends too.
Draft coming up. Jake Sharber and the Seahawks. I know he really wants Emeka. I know he wants a lot of Buckeyes. He's super locked in, finishing up finals. Maybe Jake on the episode next week. We'll have to see. Little hat shuffling going on the next couple of weeks with some moving for everybody. So we won't know. But Jake Sharber, maybe if he's on next week, he'll be able to give us his takes on the Seahawks draft class. But now we're going to kick it to our quick ad read and our clutch moment of the week.
Our clutch moment of the week is brought to you by Shore Metals, serving Southern California since 1970. Big enough to serve you and small enough to know you. See Stan. He'll help you out. Michael, who do you have for your clutch moment of the week?
Clutch moment of the week. A whole lot of Buckeyes. The Ohio State men's lacrosse team, Big Ten champions, beating that team up north to clinch it on the road. An incredible win. Women's softball, sweep the series, beat that team up north. They have a great weekend. And in the pro aspect of Ohio State sports, amateur golfer, now pro golfer, Neil Shipley, shines in Sarasota and is the Korn Ferry Tour champion, winning the Lecom Suncoast Classic. 5 playoff holes. Neil Shipley won. Had a great video on their Twitter of basically him saying like one take. It took him like 6 takes to record this video of him holding the trophy. But Neil Shipley wins. Men's lacrosse wins. Softball wins. Buckeyes all over the field. The court, the greens, everywhere. Winners.
I think baseball may have even swept that team up north a couple weeks ago as well. So
really,
Buckeyes continue to dominate. My clutch moment of the week goes out to the team just a couple blocks north of me. The Chicago Cubs have been up to no good over the last couple weeks, still being pretty hot. The bullpen has definitely cooled things down a little bit, but you don't need a bullpen when you're able to put up as much runs as these guys are. Cubs were playing the Diamondbacks over the weekend. I feel like we're playing the Diamondbacks every other week. I've been to Arizona, so I've been to some Cubs Diamondback games in Arizona, so maybe it just sticks out. But I believe the game was Saturday. It was 1-1, boring-ass game heading into the 8th inning. The Cubs give up 10 runs in the 8th inning, 11-1. No. It was 7-1 at this time. Cubs give up 10 runs, 11-7, heading into the bottom of the 8th. Bullpen blew it open. I've seen it a million times. Cubs are bad. Just kidding. Carson Kelly has 2 home runs. Kyle Tucker has another home run. Pay the man. Cubs win by scoring eight of their own in the 8th inning to final score of 13-11. Cubs win. So clutch moment of the week goes out to the Cubs. The bats are hot. Wrigley is bumping, and life is good.
Love it. Definitely soaking it in the last couple weeks in Wrigleyville. Got to get it all in there. But Cubs win. Buckeyes win. Neil Shipley. Buckeyes everywhere. Clutch moment of the week. Wrapping it up now with Outside the Line and starting off with Tone Deaf Person of the Week. Who do we got?
My tone deaf person of the week goes out to someone we called out for being tone deaf a week ago, maybe even 2 weeks ago, and it's the most open and shut tone deaf case we have maybe seen yet. Nico Iamaleava transfers to UCLA. It is official. They were early in the discussions for him. There were other schools involved. UNC was rumored. Tulane was rumored. He went from asking for $4 million, I believe was the number that he wanted from Tennessee, or which caused him to walk. He was going to get 2 in the original deal. He has transferred to UCLA for 1.75, so a discount even from what he was going to be making originally had he not tried to push for more money. Also, UCLA and Tennessee have basically been involved in a direct trade because a UCLA quarterback is now transferring over to Tennessee, and Nico's younger brother, Madden Iamaleava, has transferred from Arkansas to UCLA. So the Leva family has taken a pay cut. They're headed out to the Rose Bowl in LA. They're going to go maybe 500 this year. Neither of them can probably hit the deep ball, and things are bad for them. I don't know how anyone could have seen that coming, except for literally everybody who saw the situation. But that tone deaf case seems to be wrapped up about now.
Does Arkansas get anybody in this trade, or they were a salary dump to even out the 2 teams?
Got to be a salary dump there. I'm not sure who they have coming in the transfer portal. I have a soft spot for Arkansas, one of my long-running dynasties in the college football video game. I'm currently at Arkansas. Okay. But don't know what's going to be happening out there.
Okay. But yeah, the first official, in my opinion, 1-for-1 swap. The first college football trade, almost. Very tone deaf. We'll see. November 15th, we'll see you again, Nico.
He sucks.
My tone deaf, I mentioned one earlier, which is the Laker fans not giving a shit, not wearing the t-shirt. So half of that was tone deaf. But I already kind of mentioned that. But the next one, I don't know if it's tone deaf. Maybe I need to talk it out. But so the Rays, if you're familiar, are playing at the Yankees minor league stadium. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar?
Yes.
They're obviously playing there because of the massive hurricane that happened in Florida this year, decimated their stadium, broke their roof. They were going to the plan was to build a new stadium ready by 2027. They've now scrapped that idea to now fix that because they can't afford to fix and build a new one. So they're now going to repair that one. From what I've heard, is they're going to
Okay.
repair the current stadium. Okay. Last week I saw on Twitter, and it got trending, that the Rays are selling pieces of the roof that was blown off by the hurricane for $15 each for just one piece of roof. Is that tone deaf? Am I tone deaf for thinking that? Is it fucked up?
I think it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I think so too. There was a sign that said, like, each piece is $15. It is not authenticated by the MLB, but then there was like an MLB authenticated logo on the paper as well. Very weird. I think very tone deaf. Definitely shouldn't be profiting. Maybe if it's going to like a hurricane relief fund, maybe I could understand that. But I didn't see that part of it. So yeah, I think it's a little tone deaf.
The worst way to say this, and I'm gonna say it.
Okay.
It's a natural disaster, so it's different. But imagine if they were selling pieces of debris in New York in 2001.
Yeah, I think that's much worse, but
it's much worse. But it's a tragedy. Like, people died, people lost their house and their homes, and like, if it's going to a charity, I guess that's a good way to make something happen. But a broken piece of roof, it's not like it's a historical day for the team. If it's just going to their bottom line because they need a few extra bucks to fix the stadium, that's horrible. It just sounds bad all the way around. I don't think that's a good look for anybody.
Terrible?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And when you look it up, it's like each piece is being sold for $15, which is a steal when compared to eBay users who collected pieces from the site shortly after the storm and listed them online for upwards of $150.
I mean, there's some people that have stadium seats in their house, or like all the bobbleheads. They're big giveaway people. But
what are you gonna do with one piece?
I don't know. One piece of broken roof, like, that's not a great collectible either.
It says proceeds from this item benefit the Rays Baseball Foundation, but that's not Hurricane Relief Fund.
They benefit the new stadium that's going to be coming.
Yeah,
the fixed stadium. That's bad. I did not know that was going.
That's bad, right? That's bad. Not okay. Yeah. Good tone deaf. Then I'm glad I picked it. Yeah, it was really bad when I saw it. So yeah, very interesting. Wrap it up though. Wrong side, right side. What do we got?
Wrong side, right side. Overall, moving is always a wrong side, right side. This will come out on Wednesday. Maddie and I are moving in together on Saturday, so that'll be a very exciting step. I have started packing. We're recording this on Monday. I'm at a good spot packing on Monday, so we'll see what trouble I'm able to get into in the next couple of days. But that's a little overarching one. Wrong side, right side. Wrong side. Today, Baseball Reference's algorithm came out and said the Cubs are the most likely team to win the World Series. I think we can all agree this team is a little flawed, and it's also way too early in the season to be crowning anyone champion. So I consider that a kiss of death. So that was my wrong side over there.
Okay.
Right side. A lot of things are going on. Michael's getting ready to move. I am in the process of packing. You need to be able to appreciate the little things. The weather is turning in Chicago. Things are good there, able to get outside a little bit more, so feeling good. The boys are weeks deep into the yearly Minecraft run, so that's been a good way to stay entertained. And I'm watching a good show. Daredevil, the original show. The new season just came out over this last month or so, but Daredevil, the original first 3 seasons. Season 3 might be one of my favorite pieces of television of all time. So a lot of good things going on, a lot of things to be excited about. The Cubs, I am not saying they're going to win the World Series. That's very wrong side, but life's good over here, Michael. How about you? What's your wrong side, right side?
Love that. Heard a lot of great things about Daredevil. Know a lot of friends are watching it. They caught up, obviously watched the new season. You're watching the older seasons, but heard a lot of great things about it. I heard the last finale. I don't know much about it, but from my friends, I heard it was really good. Moving is part of my wrong side. Wrong side was game 1, being there in person. That was a bad one to suck down. Not very happy. My grandpa took it a lot better than I did. Surprisingly, he was like, "Oh, I'll get him next time."
I was worried.
I was like quiet the entire ride home. And the Angels lost on Saturday. It was like a 1-2 knockout to me. I was just in a bad mood. But wrong side is moving costs, expensive couches, expensive furniture, rent, all of it's expensive. Had like a freak out this week, but we're back. We budgeted well, and we'll figure it out. Just might be a little rough for the first couple months, just getting our feet under us, but should be interesting. Right side though, saw Sinners this week. Really good movie. And I'm going to see Accountant 2. I'm going to see Accountant 2 with my work friends on Friday.
Work friends, hell yeah.
Little field trip. I think that there's even some discussion for maybe a double feature for Star Wars: The Revenge of the Sith after that.
Solid.
So, AMC might be getting robbed this next couple months, and with all of the budgets and all of the moving costs, I don't know if I'm willing to give up my AMC pass just yet. Maybe I'll wait till after Superman or something in July, like once the summer cools down. But very excited for that. Fun stuff coming up. Fun stuff. Almost done with private busy season, so that'll be nice. Can kind of get back to regular hours. It looks like this week. It's gonna be the first week for a couple weeks of just regular hours. But yeah, very excited. Things are in motion.
Things are in motion. I am on the short list for the AMC membership for the summer. There's a lot of good movies coming out that I'm very excited about. Sinners was good. Maybe not the best movie of all time that people were saying it was, but still very good.
Right.
And your culture shock for moving out is very funny to me. You are a saver. You don't like spending money. I definitely spend money. I would say between like Maddie and I spend more than she likes to. But yeah, every time you have to do anything, Michael, once you're a big boy and you live on your own, you spend money every time you blink, and it's very, very sad. But you'll get used to it. You'll be okay. You'll be okay.
I know. My dad and I were talking. He's like, well, if you spend a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there, I'm like, what the hell is happening in your life? Why am I spending this much money in this scenario?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. But gonna be fun. Praying to the moving gods that everything goes smoothly this week and nobody wants to rip each other's head off because it's only day one of being together, living together. So it should be fun. We'll have to regroup. Maybe we'll do an episode later on in the summer with Meg and I and you and Maddie, and we can see on.
Yes, finally.
See how 1 month. Obviously, you guys are moving in a little before us. But maybe we do a little sneak. A look inside the doors, a behind the scenes aspect of
it's just
what
Meg
life's
and
been
Maddie.
like.
It's just Meg and Maddie. They just talk about us.
Yeah, so should be very fascinating to see both of us moving in with significant others. Very exciting times. Boston, Chicago, fun times together. Another great episode. Hopefully by this time next week, the Bears and Cowboys have nailed their draft. Hopefully we get a lot of Buckeyes. Hopefully the Lakers are up in the series by this time next week. But thank you guys for listening. Happy Wrong Side Wednesday. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Stay blessed.